Yo, what is up? So in this tutorial, we're gonna go over how we can trigger a cinematic. We're gonna use our puzzle, and so when we complete the puzzle, instead of it just blending, we will play a cutscene. So it's done. Play as a cutscene, and when it's over, it just goes back. So yeah, this one should be pretty easy, pretty quick. So let's hop into it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to make a level sequence. So you can make a level sequence if you come up here to the little film little thing right here. Click on this guy, and we're going to add a level sequence. And I'm going to make a folder for this in the first person. And we'll just make a new folder in here called sequences. And we'll open this guy, and we'll call this sequence lift door. And so we got that. So the first thing we want to do when we get in here is I'm gonna click on the little camera icon right here. That'll create a camera for us to use in the sequence. And I'm just gonna position this. If you notice, we're piloting the camera right now, so we can move it around, and this is what our camera will see. If you want, you can click this eject, and you'll no longer be piloting it, but you can see the camera here. And if you want to go back, you can just go back up here and choose your sign camera actor. You can also rename this if you want. I think the rename is in here. Might just need to double click it. Where's rename? Yeah, you can double click it and call this lift door cam. And if you eject, you can see it's now called lift door cam. That way, if you have a bunch of sequences, you can keep track of what cameras are what, you know. Alright, so now, now that we have our camera, we're going to go over here to the settings, and I'm going to untick constrain aspect ratio. And I'm also going to just kind of position this where I want it. We'll do, I think right here is pretty good. I'm going to go to the focus settings right here, and manual focus. I'm just going to take this eye drop, and I'm going to click on the door. That way it's focused on the door. And so what I want to do from here is I'm going to change the frame rate and such. You can choose whatever frame rate you want, but I typically go with film for something like a cutscene. Because this is the frame rates that an actual film uses, but a lot of games use different ones. I think some games do 24, some games do 30, some games do 60. I'm going to do 24 for this, though, so I'm going to take that. I'm also going to go back here, and I'm going to show time as seconds instead of frames, so you can see we have 5 seconds. You can also change the length of what you're seeing right here, down here in the bottom right. I'm going to set this to 8. Or, not 8, 80. 8. Like that, and then, so this little red thing is basically what indicates how long the sequence actually is. Along with your camera cut here, it'll only, so when you play a sequence, it'll play all the way to the red line, but if your camera cut doesn't go all the way to that length, it'll play, but you won't have your camera view anymore. So drag both of these. I'm gonna drag them both to 7. Right around here. I'm just gonna zoom in a bit. Make sure it's lined up pretty good. Let's drag this guy out to 7. There we go. So now, the length of the scene here is 7 seconds, so I'm just going to go here to 0. And on our lift door cam, I'm going to take on this, actually I'm going to drop down right here, and on camera component, I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to look for the post-processing settings. Post-processing settings, and I'm going to go to color grading global, and I'm going to choose gain right here. And if you come over here on your right, you could see, if you go into your post-processing color grading global gain right here, we have ticked that on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this create a key when channel's properties change. So what this means is if I change anything about anything that's in our sequence here, it'll automatically add a keyframe instead of having to manually add one. But you want to be careful with this on, because you could, you know, start doing some things that you don't want to be in the scene and just create a mess. So just be careful when you turn that on. I prefer this because it's faster. You just gotta, you know, remember that it's on. So I'm just gonna take that on, and on the gain over here, I'm gonna set this to be 0. So at 0 seconds, we won't have any gain, and then at 1, if I come over here and take it to 1, let's see, gain. Oh, it actually didn't add that. We might actually have to add it manually with these. Okay, so we'll take that back to 0 at 1. And then you can click on the key, just the change channel when it changes. Or no, not that one. Where's it at? Oh, right here on the gain, right here. You can add a new key at this part, and then go to 1 second. Then we'll change this to 1. Oh, okay. See, now that automatically updated because there was a change. I guess it didn't initially because we didn't have any previous keyframes, but now that we do, and we set this to 1, it automatically updated. So if you press space, you can see that plays. And what I'm gonna do at the 1 second is we're gonna animate our door. So I'm gonna come up here to the add. Actually, I'm gonna click on the door, and then come up here to add actor to sequence. And you can see at the top here, we have add BP lift door. We can just click that. And what we're gonna do on our BP lift door is I'm gonna click on the plus right here, and I'm gonna choose transform so we can change where it's at. And then on transform right here, I'm just gonna add a key at 1 second. And then at 5.5 seconds is where I wanna change where this is. So I'm gonna just lift this guy up to about right there, and you can see we got a keyframe there. And if we play, you can see the door will lift like that. And one other thing I'm gonna do real quick is on our lift door cam, I'm also going to add a, we already have a transform actually, so let's just take the keyframe here. Then I'm going to go all the way down to 5.5 seconds. And I'm just going to zoom in, and it'll automatically update the location of where our camera is. You can see right here, I added some keys. And we have a little bit of a slow zoom towards the door. And then at 6 seconds, I'm gonna go back to my lift door camera component gain right here, and I'm just gonna take the keyframe, add a new keyframe here, so that we have the same gain that we have, because we don't want, if you don't add a keyframe before we make this next change, which we'll go ahead and make at 7 seconds, we're gonna set this gain back to 0 so that it fades out. So if you don't add this keyframe at 6 seconds, it'll fade from this location and not this location. So if I delete this, you can see it'll just fade up and then automatically start fading back down. So you want to add a keyframe where you want the fade to start, so like that. And you see it plays, and then it'll fade back out. And then we need to go to lift door. I'm gonna add, if you click on the add right here, we're gonna add an audio sound, and I'm just gonna add that elevator door sound. Doors, elevator, open, and I'm just gonna drag this to where our door starts to open right here. And now it plays a sound right there. That's how you can easily add some audio. Oh, whoops. And yeah, that's kind of all we really need for the sound. You could also do some cool things like add some particle effects, and you know, you could change anything that is in the level. All you have to do is click on it and add actor to sequence. And you could do all kinds of cool stuff with level sequences. So that's all we need for our level sequence though. So what I'm going to do is we're going to trigger this when we finish our puzzle. I'm going to click on the door here. And we're just going to change some things about what we already have. So I'm going to keep the delay here. I'm just going to drag this guy down. And we're going to pull off of this guy. We're going to create level sequence player. The level sequence is going to be our lift door. And then we're going to pull off of this, and we're going to look for complete, or finished. We need to look for finished, assign on finished. And we're just going to do some things here, which, before we finish, we need to play. So we're going to pull off of this guy, and we're going to play. And then on finished, we'll plug this guy in right here. Then on event on finished, we want to stop the level sequence. Just gonna add some reroutes. Also, something we're gonna do is I'm gonna get the player ref, and I'm gonna get the HUD ref, and we're gonna hide the HUD while the sequence plays. So when it starts playing, we're just gonna set visibility to be hidden, and just plug that in after the bind. Because this is on finished, so if you do it on finished, it won't trigger until it's done. So we want to plug it in when we trigger our door open. But we are going to copy this, duplicate this down here, and when it is finished, we want to set it back to visible. I'm just going to line this up a bit. And then we're just going to skip everything we did up here, and we're going to plug into what we did on the finished of our timeline. I'm just going to plug this guy in. And instead of blend time being 1 second, I'm going to set this to be 0 seconds. And that should be good. Alright, so one last thing we're going to do is on our transform of our lift door right here, we're going to right click on this. We're going to go to edit section. And then on when finished right here, we're going to choose keep state. So that way, when the cinematic is done, it'll keep its location. So let me just set this back. So yeah, now that that's done, we'll go ahead and test it. So if we press play, we do our puzzle. We just finish this guy. And when it's done, the sequence will play. Door will open. And when it's over, door is still open. And we can continue. We can just go through the door and it's done. So yeah, that's all we're going to do for this one. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you're new around here, definitely subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know those down in the comments. If you have any suggestions for tutorials you would like to see, also let me know those down in the comments. If you would like to support the channel, we do have memberships on the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.